What about the break? 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 64 of the Shower Podcast, the podcast where I'm in my shower and you do you. I'm your host, Chip, and I'm not crazy. I know that yesterday's episode I was in tank top and tonight I'm wearing a hoodie, but yesterday's episode I just came from the gym. Today's episode I'm at home and outside it's very, very cold. I think it's also a bit the mood of these days. I can subscribe and I can confirm with all my heart that it is absolutely beneficial to, let's say, go out and do something, be either gym, and any activity, because staying inside and studying the whole day and working, it's not pleasant. I don't recommend it. Your small brain, generally speaking, will say, yeah, stay home, you'll study, you'll do great. Problem is that at some point your, let's say, focus level decreases and it's so hard then to find an activity that will, let's say, make you feel better. And there it is. And I won't have to lie that also today's episode was very hard to do because, again, one thing leads to the other, your motivation goes down, and it's ever so hard to stand up and put on the camera and start recording. And yet, here we are, because we need to stick to the rule that we've decided for ourselves. Every day, a new episode. Enough rambling about my day. Let's get to the reason why you're here, to listen to a new idea for today. And it is correlated a bit to how things went also in my day today. Because let's say that more or less these days I have tried to set up a mini schedule where I wake up at a certain time, I do a certain activity, I go to work. I switch to work because I'm at home. I do that, switch again. And I would like to focus on this switching mentality, because I think that anybody that's listening to this will have encountered at least once in his home feed or in these TikTok pages or wherever you're consuming, let's say, short content. My daily routine. This is my day. This is the life of a multi-billionaire that for some reason acts as if he's not. You know, that kind of video. And the problem that I have with those videos is, first of all, when they put on the time and the activities, and I'm like, have you ever lived a single day on this earth? Are we walking on the same planet? What is happening here? Because, I don't consider myself the most productive person on earth, but I do know how to set up a schedule and how to stick to plans. And the biggest problem that I have is not so much, let's say, starting the activity or sticking to the plan, because then again, if you build enough rhythm and you are, let's say, you have experience with it, it works perfectly. The problem is switching from one activity to the other. These people are like, I woke up. 1 minute later, they are directly, journaling, showering, with skincare. I'm going out to pet my cat. Then I go into the car. Like, bro, first of all, slow down. But mostly, don't you think that, or at least haven't you experienced the time needed to switch from one activity to the other? And mostly, the variability in this time. What about the breaks? Because I find it very misleading, to be honest. And again, it tries to deliver an idea and to deliver a lifestyle that it's simply not achievable. And the problem is that you see those videos, you're like, okay, let me follow this routine. You try it and you fail. And you fail exactly for this, because maybe you cannot stick to the same timeline that they put in the video. But the problem is that timeline is absolutely fake. And indeed, I do like the ones that are reasonable, that show you that I have this activity from 10 to 11, and maybe you stick to the activity from 10 to 11. But I won't believe you if then at 11:01 you have already switched to the new activity. It's simply not possible. It's something that won't happen. And even if it happens, you need a certain time to switch your brain to the new activity. It's not like at some point you're like, okay, I finished, I immediately do the other thing. it just doesn't work like that. And again, I find it ludicrous that, first of all, there is no content that specifically focus also on this point, because I truly believe that we should be, let's say, putting our attention not so much on the activity itself, but on these transition moments. Because even when you are into doing an activity, and I have mentioned the Pomodoro technique in some of my other episodes, and I encourage you to go search it up. One of the key elements is, of course, the partitioning of the work in chunks of 25 minutes, but also the 5 minutes break between sessions. Because even if you partition this work, the break and, let's say, the time that it's needed for you to start doing something new, it's very big. And to be honest, also, it depends on how tired you feel, because the first switch of the day will be seamless because you have a lot of energy, you have a lot of drive, you have a lot of, let's say, will to do the things that you have set up in the plans. But at the end of the day, when you have to switch from one to the other, it will take you so much more time. Because also, and again, it's something that can happen to all of us, and I'm sure you also experienced it, you're like, okay, in 5 minutes, I will do this. And you start, I don't know, scrolling TikTok or Instagram. And at some moment, these 5 minute paths, you're like, okay, 1 more minute. And from 1 more minute, you end up spending so much more time, not necessarily because you didn't do the thing that you needed to do, but because it is taking you way longer to get back into the mentality of, okay, I have to stick to a plan. I have to do something. And I really encourage you to pay attention to these things, because, again, as it happens with most of the episodes, when I tell you something, it's because it happens to me. And it happens a lot of times, a bit too many times for me specifically, that even though I have a plan, I have learned to set the timings and, let's say, the transition period within a variable value, because otherwise I will, let's say, have this feeling of failure when simply I am not allowing myself to succeed. And this is, again, another huge problem that maybe we'll discuss another day. But today is not the day, because now episode 64 is over. I have to go back studying. So thank you very much for listening. As always, feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Any kind of feedback is fully appreciated. And see you at the next one.